Actually, one of my favorite parts, in episode 4, the Cheetos skit, where
Now the
Jaden.
Cheetos sketch, yes. That's one I did. That was one of the last things I think that was one of the last things I wrote for the Abridged series before I decided to leave. That was one of the last jokes I came up with, and then where the fuck are my Cheetos? God, I don't know. Up a Chinese pipe, I guess, somewhere. I don't even know where that joke came from. Jaden was stoned, and he was looking for Cheetos. I guess it was a Munchies joke, really. I don't know why he wanted Cheetos. I don't know.
uh,
Why Cyrus was acting the way he did. I don't know. Uh, I don't know what I was thinking, but that was a funny moment.
yeah. Was it you that decided to come into the series, or did Steeler 2 ask you to come into the series?
Well, it started, like I said, it started out as Steeler was doing, because I was the one who got Steeler into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge series when it first came out. So Steeler 2 started doing these Lion King dubs, which I've got to say, I hate. Beyond, and I know people are going to really hate me for that, but I hate them. And that's nothing against Steeler 2, but I basically had to go at him because he ripped off the Tristan voice. Because he did that as soon as he started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and then he did that voice and started doing this Kobu stuff, and I was just like, I'll let him do it. People liked it, so I wasn't really, if people liked it, fair dues to him, really. And then he came up to me, he was talking one day saying, you know what, man, I think I might make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series. And wasn't really with him for that, and I was like, don't do it, man. I was like, the Lion King, he's like, no, but the Lion King's really good. And I was like, dude, you make jokes about a lion who thinks he's a pimp. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. He's like, I can do it. And then he did, and he did episode 1, and I think the only part of episode 1 I smiled at was when he played George Michael, because he is possibly the greatest gay singer of all time. But then eventually I said, listen, man, I'll help you out with a few jokes. And basically I would come up with a joke and make a joke. And then he said, well, tell you what, man, why don't you just do that joke with that voice? Because I'd say something like with Cyrus, what about cosplay? That's cooler than the other side of the pillow. And then so Steeler 2 would just laugh and say, tell you, man, you could be Cyrus with that voice. Just do that what you just did there. So I'd do that. And then I'd do stuff like Shaz, and it kind of just started. I would do a joke, but then do a voice for the joke. And just Steeler 2 loved a voice so much, he decided, you just do that voice. And then we got such positive feedback after episode 2. So Steeler 2 sort of said, listen, man, they love you. They love what this episode 2, and he said he preferred it to episode 1. He said, listen, man, I prefer it so much. Do you want to do more? And I went, you know what, cack it. I'll do it. I'll join in. So I ended up getting the parts of Cyrus, Shaz, Crowler, Lexus, and the narrator, and many other lovable Yu-Gi-Oh! GX characters.
How much do you think Steeler 2 has progressed since episode 1 all the way till episode 6?
I think it's progressed quite well, because because basically episodes 1 and 6 were written solely by Steeler 2. So so say episode 1 I think was quite terrible, but episode 6 was a perfect follow-up to episode 5, which was still more or less written by me, but even so, near the end of episode 5, Steeler did write a lot about himself. So I think he has progressed quite a lot. So now I've decided I can come back to the series and we can sort of write and do the series together, rather than me just coming up with the jokes and then telling Steeler 2 and then just waiting for his reaction.
You said you played Yu-Gi-Oh!, so any favorite cards?
My favourite card has to be, it's a toss-up between Dark Horus and Light and Darkness Dragon, simply because I'm a big Dragon fan, and anyone who's a fan of my deck videos will know I'm a big Dragon fan, but I'm also a big Yin Yang fan, and Light and Darkness Dragon is just possibly, if there was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card that I would ever think, yes, that was made for me, it would have to be Light and Darkness Dragon, because it's a frigging dragon that's light and dark. It's like a yin-yang dragon, so that's probably my favourite.
Okay, personally I prefer Ojama Green. I use it for my logo and everything.
Ojama, I love Ojamas. I actually had an Ojama deck for a long time.
Ooh.
I know, I've actually got that. I might remake that. It wasn't so much an Ojama deck, but it was an underestimated power deck in which all the monsters were level 3 or lower normal type monsters.
Sounds like Gravity Bind deck.
Oh yes, there was Gravity Bind.
Let's wrap this up here. No.55 with Xthedarkone.
My final thought would have to be Gravy Bicycle.
Okay, so, yep, No.5 and Xthedarkone, well...
Goodbye.